Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about Lombok and the good old builder design pattern. So the builder design pattern allows us to very simply construct an object without having to know what the constructor is, and making it so that we just have to reference some named functions to set the variables that they correspond to. That might sound complicated, but we're going to walk through it real quick. I'm going to show you how to do it by hand, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with Lombok. Before we get started though, Lombok does do a few things extra for us. This string that you see here is the product of a method from Lombok, which you can write by hand. You don't have to, um, but it's there. So there are some extra things like that. I'll put the documentation to the builder annotation for Lombok down below, and you can check it out there if you're interested in those fun extras that Lombok handles for you. So in this case, we're going to be talking about a fictional car class, or an actual car class that I created here, but has fictional use. So we're going to call it no Lombok car because engineers are very creative people, and we're just going to take in four parameters: length, width, name, and doors. These are just going to be parameters that correspond to the car. Um, there's no units here, so that's awful, and we're going to ignore that because that's not the point of this video, but make sure that you actually give some good meaning to your variable names in the field. Don't be that guy who writes x as just some random integer. Do something useful. Alright, so that's our class. It has these parameters. It doesn't really do anything with it. Now, you might be saying, that's pointless. Where's the rest of this video? Well, the rest of this video is right here with the big old builder class and this nice little builder function. So this builder function here is going to return a builder object, which is the class we defined below. The class itself does something a bit more interesting. It's going to define the same list of parameters that we use in the constructor of our object, so that being length, width, name, and doors. But it's then also going to create a blank constructor and a corresponding function for each one of those attributes to the class. So length, width, name, and doors are going to be functions as well. Each one of them is just going to take a input that is the same type as the corresponding parameter. So length takes an int because length is an int, same with width and name and doors. Corresponding types, it's very simple and obvious. All these are going to do is the magical this dot, the attribute name, equals the parameter. And this just says that the builder's attribute is going to be equal to whatever they gave us. You can call this multiple times on the builder method or the builder class, and it will make sure that the attribute is now assigned to that new value. So you can do this as many times as you like, and it'll keep changing that. Now, if we go down to the very bottom, we'll see this build method. This is where the magic happens. This will take the current values of the attributes for the builder class and pass them into the constructor of the no Lombok car object. This has a lot of implications for us. One, if we ever change the constructor for no Lombok car, we only have to change it in one place. Say that we add a new attribute here, right? No one else uses the constructor directly, they only use the builder class. So the builder class can actually go in and add a default value there and allow people to override it. Then any existing code will not break, and any new code can access the new attribute and the corresponding features. We'll discuss that in a little bit and show an example too. Then down here, we have a toString method, which is similar to what I showed you earlier as the output from Lombok. It just means that if we print out the builder object, this is the string that we'll get. A string that contains the values of all the attributes and tells you which attributes are assigned to that value. Pretty simple. There's a few other ones that Lombok will do, including a hash code and a few other things, but this is the general one that's a little nice for debugging because you can tell which one of the classes you're printing out. So with that, we have one last thing to cover before we actually use it, and that is this little note I made up here. The builder method for no Lombok car needs to be static. The reason for that is that it returns this builder. if the builder actually can create the object that we're interested in, the no Lombok car, we don't want it to not be static because that means we would have to already have a no Lombok car object before we could create the builder that constructs it for us. And that's kind of a chicken and egg problem that you don't want to deal with. It's pointless and it's counterintuitive and just unhelpful. So make sure that your builder method in your no Lombok car class is static. Uh, Correspondingly, because this is static, the class of the builder has to also be static. So make sure that you do that, otherwise you're going to get some very strange errors in the future. Alright, with that, let's go into our main class, or main method here, and let's create a car builder. So no Lombok car builder, we're going to call it builder, because again, we are very creative, and then we're going to create no Lombok car dot no Lombok car builder, and my bad, no Lombok car dot builder. We don't need to specify the static class. We want to actually get the static class object back to us. So remember, this builder method will create a builder object for us and return it. From here, we can actually access those method names, being name, simple car, length, we'll call it 15, a width of 7, and doors of 4. Now just like that, we have a builder. We don't have the actual object we want to create, but we do have the builder for it. Just to show you the two strings overriding, we can go in here, do a quick little print line of our builder, and we'll get the output showing us the parameters that are assigned in the builder class and show us that everything is as expected. So length is equal to 15, width 7, name simple car, and doors 4, just as we said above there. What happens if we get rid of one of these methods? If we get rid of width, we should now see null there, because we never specified in the builder what to do when that was null. Or, my bad, we won't see null there. We'll see 0 because it's an integer, not an object. But nonetheless, you see that it goes to the null equivalent value, which is very important. One of the benefits I mentioned earlier is that if you change the constructor, you can actually change it safely without having to change any code. So let's demonstrate that real quick. If we go back and add the width in there, let's go back to the no Lombok car and add a new parameter. And let's just call this color. So we're going to do this dot color equals color, and we'll go up here and we'll define that parameter there. Now if we go down in the builder, we want to do the same thing, private string color. All we have to do is create a method, public no Lombok car builder, because we always have to return the builder so that we have this specific instance. We're going to call it the name of the parameter color. It's going to take a string named color, and we're going to set this specific instance of no Lombok car builder and its color equal to the color that is passed in. Next, we're going to return this. Why do that? Again, we want to make sure that we return the current instance of the builder so that we have many different builders, and that at the end of this, we can chain the methods together like we did earlier. And when I say chain methods together, I mean this, where we just do dot 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 dot. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do this. We'd have to repeat builder dot builder dot builder dot over and over again to set the value. So now that we have that there, all we have to do is add color here. Now, we've done that change. We go back to the Lombok example. We have no syntax here, even though we don't specify color. If we run this code, Lombok, or no, not Lombok, the no Lombok car builder will print out that there is a, oh, we forgot to add it here. color equals, oops, again, all messed up, space there, and cool. All right, so now that we have that in the string method, another reason why when we'll show you this with Lombok is a little bit easier to deal with, you'll see that now color is null. So the value is still being used, the parameter exists, but we don't have any syntax errors. However, if we were to try to do this manually, we would see that. If we weren't using a builder and we were just using the constructor directly, we would see a syntax error, and we'd see it everywhere that we build the object. Everywhere we need a no Lombok car, we would see an error saying that we need to change the parameters for the constructor. Using a builder, you don't have to do that, and that makes things so much easier. Say you're building this out, color is a new feature, you don't care about it being used in all the old places, you only care about it being used in a few new places, you could set a default color there. And now, everyone that has the builder will automatically get a default color of red. And if they want to change that, they can simply go in here, call the color value, do whatever they want. We'll do blue in this example, and that new value will override the default red. So that's a huge thing, reduces the maintenance cost of your code greatly, and you don't have to you don't have to deal with the refactoring yourself. Now, what if you want an actual no Lombok car? What do? Well, remember that build method we made? Our builder has a build method. It returns a no Lombok car. So all we gotta do is change the type of the value, or the variable, name the variable car, and call build. Now we have a no Lombok car. We don't have the builder, we have the actual car object, which does not have a toString function, so we're just going to get the fun at this memory address, and there you go. Now, for the real cherry on top, super cool thing with Lombok, here's how you do it with Lombok. We have all this without it. This is what it looks like with Lombok. We've even added an extra thing here. So let's get rid of this extra annotation. I'll just show you the basics real quick. So if you want just a simple Lombok car with the same attributes as before, all you have to do is define the class, define the private attributes, and put the builder annotation on the class. Now you have a builder. Don't believe me? Let's create let's create an actual Lombok car. This car, much easier to build. Done. Right? We have our builder.build, which is actually valid. As we explained earlier, we didn't do any null checks, so this would give us a car with null everything. But just like that, you have access to a builder method. The variables are named the same as they were before. Well, except for height. I missed that. It should be width. But the point is that the attributes correspond to the correct function names. So there's a height attribute, there's a height function. But you don't see any of that in the code. We no longer have to maintain that, and if we want to add something new, like color, all we have to do is add the definition for it here. Now, we have a dot color. And if we want to get rid of it, we delete it, and over here we'll see a syntax error saying that that method doesn't exist. Very, very easy. Now, earlier you saw that there was an extra annotation above name, and that was non-null. You can use this annotation to specify an attribute that must have a defined value, meaning that you cannot specify it as null, you cannot leave it blank, you have to use it in the builder. If we go back here and build this, it's going to be a runtime exception. It'll give us a null pointer exception saying that it's marked not null, but it is null. You have to define it. So if we go in here, dot name, we can say simple car again, and now it'll build. And that is just how easy it is to use Lombok. It's amazing. It's very simple. Uh, I'll link to the website down below, which has installation instructions for any IED, how to compile with it and include it in your your actual build of any jar that you're creating or any runtime. It's very useful, and there's a lot more here. I hope that this makes your dev life a bit easier. I hope that you're able to start using something like this. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave a comment below. If you liked this video, please press the like button. And if you'd like to see future videos, hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Have a good day.